My child is burning with fever. I only need 500 naira for the clinic.
500 naira?
Papa, we are hungry. Please give us money for food. The rain fell steadily as 6 children stood outside their father's shop, their thin clothes soaked, their stomachs empty. They needed just 200 naira to buy bread. Inside the shop, their father sighed impatiently. I don't have money, he said sharply. Do you want me to steal for you? He shut the door. Behind the counter, O'Connor sat on a wooden stool, carefully counting his savings. 847,000 naira, money he had gathered slowly over 20 years. He wrapped the bundles neatly and hid them away, just as he always did. Then he watched through the window as his children walked home in the rain, hungry. That night, his youngest child stopped breathing. O'Connor was 52 years old, the owner of the biggest provision shop in Umuza village. People respected him. They said he was wise, disciplined, and hard-working. Every evening he counted his money, bundles of naira hidden in paint buckets, sewn into mattresses, buried in tins under the ground. 20 years of saving. 847,000 naira. His wife, Adawara, was only 40, but hardship had aged her beyond her years. Her wrapper was faded and torn in 3 places. Her slippers were held together with wire. Hunger had made her thin, her eyes permanently tired. Every morning, she woke at 4 a.m. to sweep the compound, fetch water from the stream, and calculate the impossible: how to feed 6 children with nothing. Mama, I'm hungry, 7-year-old Chidara whispered one Tuesday morning. Adawara's heart cracked again, the way it did every day. Wait, my child, she said softly. Let me see what I can find. She walked to her husband's shop. O'Connor was arranging new drinks on the shelves: Coke, Fanta, Sprite, cartons upon cartons. Each bottle sold for 50 naira. My husband, she said quietly, the children need food. Please give me 200 naira to buy rice. O'Connor didn't look up. I don't have money. But you just bought new drinks. That is business money, not food money, he snapped. Tell those children to manage. What do they think this place is? A palace. Adawara turned and walked away. Her eyes were dry. She had cried all her tears long ago. She found 35 naira in an old purse. At the market, she bought the smallest measure of gari. That evening, 6 children shared 1 pot of gari mixed with water. No soup. No salt. 14-year-old Trudy, the eldest, pushed his bowl away. I'm not hungry, Mama. Give mine to the little ones. But Adawara saw his hands shaking. She knew he was starving. At the village square that night, women gathered and whispered, "Those are O'Connor's children? Aha! They are suffering. That man has money, oh. His shop is full. Yet his children walk barefoot. Adawara is strong. Strong? She's dying. Look at her. Thin like broom." That night, 12-year-old Amara couldn't sleep. Hunger twisted her stomach. She cried quietly so her mother wouldn't hear. In the next room, O'Connor counted his money again. 847,000 naira. He smiled and slept peacefully. Outside, his children lay awake, hungry. On Wednesday morning, the school teacher sent Chukuri home. Your PTA fee is 5,000 naira. If your father doesn't pay by Friday, don't return. Chukuri walked 5 kilometers home. His uniform was torn at the shoulder. His textbook was held together with rubber bands. Other children laughed at him. He said nothing. He found his mother washing clothes with plain water. The soap had finished. "Mama," he said quietly, "the teacher said Papa must pay 5,000 naira, or I can't come back to school." Adawara sat down on the ground. 5,000 naira, for 1 child. And there were 6. She went back to her husband's shop. "My husband, Chukuri, will be expelled on Friday. Please, they need 5,000 naira. O'Connor slammed his hand on the counter. 5,000 for what? Books. I didn't go to university. Look how successful I am. School is a waste. Let that boy learn trade. But he is brilliant. I said I don't have money. Stop disturbing me. This time, as Adewara walked away, one tear fell. Just one. That afternoon, 4-year-old Obiageli fell sick. Her body burned with fever. She couldn't eat. She couldn't play. She lay on the mat, crying weakly. "Mama," she whispered, "my body is paining me." Adewara touched her forehead, burning hot. She needed to take her child to the clinic. But she had nothing. And inside his shop, surrounded by goods and hidden wealth, Okoner still believed he had no money. The clinic charged 500 naira. Adewara searched everywhere, under the mat, inside old pots, in the pockets of her wrapper. She counted again and again. 85 naira. That was all. She went back to Okoner. The third time that day. "My husband, Obiageli, is very sick," she said, holding the child whose body burned with fever. "She's getting worse. I need 500 naira for the clinic." Okoner looked at his youngest daughter lying limp in her mother's arms. For a moment, something stirred in him. Maybe concern. Then he remembered his money. 847,000 naira. If he kept spending it, it would finish. "Use local herbs," he said coldly. "Our mothers didn't go to clinics, and they survived. These children are too soft." Adewara begged a neighbor for bitter leaf. She boiled it and tried to give it to Obiageli. The child was too weak to drink it. That evening, the village gathered for a meeting. Okoner sat proudly in the front row. He had donated 200 naira for the renovation of the village hall. The people clapped. But as he walked away, the whispers followed him. 200 naira for village hall, but his children are starving. That man's heart is stone. God is watching him. Friday came. Chukuri did not go to school. He sat at home, staring at his books. Adewara watched her brilliant son, the top of his class, losing his future because of 5,000 naira. That night, she used her last 50 naira to buy rice. She cooked it with only salt and water. 6 children shared one pot. Each child got 4 spoons. Obiageli was worse. Her breathing was shallow. Her body felt lighter, weaker. Sunday morning, the whole village prepared for church. Adewara woke early and bathed the children with cold water. There was no money for firewood. She dressed them in their only church clothes, washed so many times they were almost transparent. Obiageli could barely stand. "Mama, I can't go to church," she whispered. "I'm tired." Fear gripped Adewara's heart. "We must go," she said softly. "We will pray. God will heal you." At church, Obiageli sat on her mother's lap, her body trembling. Halfway through the service, she went limp. "Obiageli! Obi!" Adewara screamed. The church exploded into chaos. People rushed forward. Someone ran for water. The pastor began to pray. Okoner sat frozen, watching his youngest daughter unconscious in her mother's arms. "We must take her to the hospital, now," the pastor shouted. "Who has a car?" Mr. Ease, the village teacher, ran to get his car. They rushed Obiageli to the general hospital 20 kilometers away. The doctor examined her quickly. "Severe malaria," he said gravely. "Complicated by malnutrition." He turned to Adewara. "How long has she been sick?" 3 days, Adewara sobbed. 3 days. The doctor shook his head. "She could have died." The words hit Okoner like a blow. "Could have died. We need to admit her immediately," the doctor continued. "The bill will be around 15,000 naira." Okoner reached for his pocket, then stopped. 15,000 naira. Too much. His savings. I don't have that kind of money," he muttered. Mr. Ease stepped forward. "I'll pay," he said firmly. "Save the child first." The teacher, who earned 35,000 naira a month and had 4 children of his own, paid 15,000 naira to save Okoner's daughter. Okoner stood there, ashamed. The whole village was watching. The man with the biggest shop in Umuza. The man who counted money every night. Standing silent while another man saved his child. Obiageli was admitted. She was put on drips, given medicine, given food. Within hours, her eyes opened. "Papa," she whispered. Okoner looked at her, this tiny, fragile child he had almost killed. Almost killed because he was too stingy to spend 500 naira. He saw her thin arms, her ribs, her hollow cheeks. And for the first time in 20 years, Okoner saw clearly. He saw his wife's worn face, his son's torn uniform, his children's hungry eyes. He fell to his knees beside the hospital bed and wept. Monday morning, Okoner did not open his shop. Instead, he gathered his money from every hiding place. Paint buckets, mattresses, buried tins. All of it. 847,000 naira. He brought it home and spread it on the table. Adewara stared in shock. She had never seen so much money. "This is what I've been saving," Okoner said, his voice breaking. "While our children starved. While you suffered. While Obi almost died." He laughed bitterly. "I was saving for the future, and destroying it at the same time." He took 50,000 naira. "Today, we are buying food. Real food." Adewara couldn't speak. She just cried. They went to the market together. For the first time in their marriage, they shopped like a real family. Rice, beans, yam, oil, tomatoes, onions, and meat. Plenty meat. "Mama," Chidara whispered, eyes wide, "is this all for us?" "Yes, my child," Adewara said. "All for us." That evening, they ate jollof rice with chicken. They ate until their bellies were full. Some of the children cried as they ate. They had forgotten what it felt like not to be hungry. By Tuesday, Okoner paid all school fees. By Wednesday, he bought new uniforms and books. By Thursday, he dressed his wife in fine wrappers. And by Sunday, he stood in church and testified. "I thought I was rich, but I was the poorest man in Umuza. I saved money and lost my family. Brothers and sisters, do not sacrifice your home on the altar of saving." The church was silent, and the village learned this truth. The richest man is not the one with the most money hidden away, but the one whose family is healthy, loved, and whole.